Hi, welcome to Jilly Bean Studio, kids, and happy Poetry Month. This video is aimed at kids ages 7 to 12. Of course, every learner is unique, so if you have a grown-up with you or a teacher, that is wonderful too. In today's session, I am thinking about some fun things to write with something that I've collected. So I've pulled out my writer's notebook, and I hope if you have a writer's notebook or a piece of paper, that would be wonderful too. And I'm a poet from Friends and Anemones, Ocean Poems for Children, with many other poets, and I'll link the information about that book in the description box below. I also have the Kids Book of Paper Love. Sometimes I like to add illustrations or fun collages in my notebook. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that today or not, but it's there if I need it. Today's subject is sea glass, and I've thought about that as something that I could hold, which is my theme, and here it is. Oh, I love this piece. It's almost the whole bottom of a bottle that has been smoothed over by the ocean. And that's what sea glass is. It starts as a rough piece of broken glass, and then the ocean over time smooths it out, and it really can be made into art glass or jewelry or just appreciated as it is. I like to set up my writer's notebook as I'm doing on the left-hand side just to get my brain in the poetry game, thinking about the senses like hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, and smelling, those 5 senses that poets use to add details and bring their poems to life. And then I'm thinking about the style of the poem or the form. And today I'm going to do haiku. It's a traditional Japanese form of poetry that really focuses on nature topics. So let's read a haiku. And this is mine from Friends and Anemones, Ocean Poems for Children. Humpback, pink deckled humpback, breaching ruby horizon, holding up the sun. Leanne Lutenkemeyer is the illustrator. I love that humpback illustration. So here we are. This is our setting up the writer's notebook stage. And now let's dig in and write a poem. I have on the right-hand side a starting line. And one of the things I'm thinking about is how to make this fit the haiku format, and also what sort of details do I want to include to describe sea glass. So let's begin with the format. Haiku has 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables traditionally. And again, it's usually traditionally about nature. So I'm going to take what nature has done to this glass as the idea. I've started with this line, rough start, broken pieces, and I like to use pencil often in my writer's notebook. And I've set up a little grid or columns on the right for the senses. I also like to anchor my poem in a place. I like to think about, well, where is this happening? And of course, this is probably a pretty obvious one. It's going to happen at the beach because of the ocean. I'm also thinking about at the beach adding more sound words. So let's begin. Splash, crash, slosh. Those would be some ocean wave words. And how about seeing? This broken glass is in parts. It certainly is white and green, different shades of green. And it reminds me sort of puzzle pieces. Tasting, I always find this a tricky one. What I'm thinking now is that in a bottle, before it's broken, it would be a glass bottle, of course, might hold juice or soda. And then, of course, there's the sharp aspect of it and the smooth aspect of the glass later. Also, in the ocean setting, at the beach, I might smell salt in the air. And oh yeah, I love to have snacks on the beach, so I'm going to add some chips and popcorn. That's what brainstorming is about. What comes to your mind? It's all there for you to think about as you begin to draft your poem. Now, I have this line that came to me, rough start, broken pieces. But I have to make that fit the haiku form, and pieces doesn't, or at least at this point I have 6 syllables, which I am tapping out. So rough, start, broken, pieces. The syllables would equal 6. And I also could change that to the word part, but I don't like the way that sounds. Rough start, broken part. I just don't. So I'm thinking now to use alliteration. Alliteration is consonant sounds. It often is at the beginning of the word, but it doesn't have to be. So do you see the words broken and bits? I like that better together. Rough start, broken bits. Yeah, that will work. Some students like to tap. Others like to clap out the syllables. You can see I'm a tapper. Rough start, broken bits. Okay, so in my mind, this is a poem of change. Sometimes there's something that becomes a thought about how you want to construct the poem. So I really like this is a process poem because it's in the natural process that sea glass goes from this really rough, broken, maybe you could almost call it garbage, right? Bit of garbage that falls into the ocean to something that really changes into a beautiful piece of glass. Now I'm thinking about the 7 syllables in the middle and what that process is. What does the ocean do to the glass? So sand, salt, waves, and then I'm going to say spit out. Now I'm digging a little bit deeper into my memory, experiences, and imagination. Those are all things that help me write a poem. And I'm thinking maybe at this point we can say the process gives the glass a whole new chance. I could also have said new life. Sand, salt, waves, spit out, new chance. I like that. And the T's in there for salt, spit, out. I like how it's sort of choppy because waves in my experience and memories have been really choppy, right? If you're at high tide, they can be very choppy. So those are some of the thoughts I'm thinking as I write that line and double checking that I have those 7 syllables. And now I'm going to pull in my imagination a little bit more. So this new chance, what is it? Well, back to my nouns. In fairy tales, new chances are given often, aren't they? Somebody starts downtrodden or in a bad place. Snow White, Cinderella, for example, and then they get a new chance. That's what I'm thinking about now with the sea glass. It started all broken, and now it becomes beautiful and has a new chance. So I'm going to try Cinderella. Let's see. Cinderella. 4 syllables. Cinderella. And she certainly had a new chance, right? In the fairy tale. So now I need the last word. And of course, that fits. Cinderella glass. Cinderella glass. There we go. 5 syllables. I like it. I've covered nature, a natural process that happens in the ocean. I have my form, the haiku, and my senses in Haiku for Poetry Month. I hope you've had some fun writing a poem. Thank you so much for stopping by Jilly Bean Studio Kids.